Hey guys, what's up? It's Adam here. I can't see the guy. Hope you're having a good day. Welcome to the Movie Vault. Okay, my previous review, I did a review of the 1987 horror film Hellraiser, which was written and directed by Clive Barker. Well, today I'm talking about the 1988 sequel, Hellbound Hellraiser 2. So let me get into the box sets. I own all three of them right here. The trilogy on Blu-ray. Okay. And of course, the others, which is some later installments into the series, which I've got mixed negative opinions about, but I'll get to them when I review them. You know, Hellraiser Deader, and of course we've got Hellraiser Bloodline, Inferno, Hell Secret, Hell World. 4 movies on a Blu-ray disc right here. Okay. Now, Hellraiser Hellbound, what can I say? It's a great sequel. I love the first movie. The first movie had it all, including the scares and practical effects. In fact, I praise the movie because of the practical effects. Well, here in Hellbound Hellraiser 2 on Blu-ray, the effects are just as good, if in fact not even better. You know, and like I've already mentioned, it's a great sequel. Could have been a standalone movie where the movie takes place right after the first movie. You know, where it shows Doug Bradley as human, playing with the configuration until he gets turned into Pinhead. And it shows Ashley Lawrence, who comes back as Kirsty in a psychiatric hospital, who has been blamed for all the crimes from the first movie. Okay. Now, Hellbound Hellraiser 2, the reason why it stood out to me so much is because I had an aunt who liked to collect horror movies when she was younger. And she had these 2 Hellraiser movies on VHS, Hellraiser 1 and Hellraiser 2. And of course, as a kid, I was always intrigued by the front covers of VHS movies of horror. Particularly in blockbuster videos, you know, where you go through the horror section and you see all these different videos on VHS and they look very gory, very scary. You know, my mother, who absolutely hated horror, God bless her soul, used to go in the romance section or the comedy section. I used to go by the horror section and have a look at all these VHS covers. And I used to see the first 3 Hellraiser movies and looking at this Pinhead guy on the front cover thinking, he looks kind of creepy, you know, and I always wanted to check it out, but my mum at the time was like, says, no, you're too young to be watching movies like this. You know, your aunt loves horror movies, and he says, there's no way you're watching them until you're older. God bless her soul. Okay. But the second movie, Hellraiser 2, I'd say I like this more than the first movie by a pinch of salt. Because it feels like the Cenobites, including Doug Bradley, have a little bit more to do. There's a little bit more to the story. Like I say, Ashley Lawrence comes back as Kirsty. She tries to explain to all the officers and people in the psychiatric ward, particularly this one guy by the name of Dr. Chenard, that it was the Cenobites who did all the killings. She explains a story about how her stepmother Julia brought her Uncle Frank victims, you know, to eat in order for him to come back to his normal self. But of course, no one believes her story. They think she's insane. And Dr. Chenard is taking a liking to Kirsty because he's absolutely obsessed with the configuration box and the story of Hellraiser. That at his own home, he's got collectibles of the configuration box and other kinds of research that he's been really wrapped up in, really obsessed with. Okay. We get to introduce some new characters. We get introduced to another character by the name of Tiffany, who's a puzzle solver. She's in the psychiatric ward for solving puzzles. And she becomes later on useful later on in the film. Okay. We learn that Steve, her first boyfriend from the first movie, is not in this. They said that they sent him home. So I think to myself, that's really nice, you know. You get a boyfriend who stood by her in the first movie. You didn't get to be the hero, sadly. Didn't rescue the girl or anything like that. And yet they send him home. Keep your demon shit to yourself, Kirsty. So I was thinking, that's a nice touch, you know, just simply saying they sent Steve home and not having anything to do with the sequel, you know. But I suppose Kirsty did have some sort of love interest in Kyle, who's a doctor at the hospital. But he comes to his demise, you know, because Claire Higgins comes back as Julia and she sucks the life out of him. You know, she tells people not to have anything to do with the mattress that Julia died on in the first movie because she could come back if anyone touches it or dies on it. But Dr. Chenard steals the mattress from the crime scene and he gets one of his mental patients to cut himself on the mattress, and that's when Julia comes back. And I'd have to say that had to be one of the most brutal, sickening scenes in horror history, where Julia comes back from the mattress and she's eating all the blood. She's going, "Don't be scared of me," and she's all skinless. You can see her veins and all her muscles, and she's all slimy. And for some strange fucking reason, this turns Dr. Channard on, because Julia and Dr. Channard end up kissing. And I think to myself, why the fuck would you kiss a skinless woman? I know she was wrapped in bandages, but why the fuck would you kiss a skinless woman? What would you find that so attractive about kissing a skinless woman? I mean, is Dr. Channard more fucking sicker than his patients? That's always puzzled me. I can't fucking understand why Dr. Channard gets so turned on by a woman who's coming on to him and she's got no fucking skin. Never fucking understood that. Okay. But they give Tiffany the configuration box. She solves the puzzle. The Cenobites come back, and Julia and Dr. Channard take this tunnel away into the different dimension of hell. And there's all these different dimensions of hell of different people. I mean, Tiffany goes to her private hell where she has a fear of clowns, and she is mute because of what happened to her mother. Kirsty goes into the dimension to try and find her dad, but she ends up finding the lair of Frank, who once again reprises his role, Sean Chapman, and he only has like a short monologue because Julia rips his heart out. She has an encounter with the Cenobites. Doug Bradley comes back as Pinhead for the second time, and so does Simon Bradford, who plays the Butterball. Kim Wilde comes back to play the role of the female Cenobite. Kim Wilde? Did I say Kim Wilde? So I'm thinking about the singing too much. No, Barbie Wilde. That's who I was meant to say, Barbie Wilde. Not Kim Wilde. Barbie Wilde, because for some reason the actress who played her in the first movie didn't come back in the second movie. I don't know why that is. I think it has something to do with her being unhappy with the role or something like that, or they didn't offer enough money. I don't know the exact reason why she didn't come back. I know she was Clive Barker's cousin, but I don't know why she didn't come back to play a role again in Hellraiser 2. And of course, there was a chatter in Cenobite also. But in terms of gore, there's a lot of gore in this film. I mean, more so, like I say, with gore in the first movie. I mean, the highlight of the first movie was definitely Frank, who got ripped apart by all the chains at the end of part one. I mean, it was a very gruesome scene, where the hooks are going through his flesh, and he says Jesus wept, and he got pulls apart like a fucking turkey, and the blood splatters everywhere. Really great practical effects from the first movie. But here in the second movie, it seems to be like one good gore fest after another. I mean, the patients in the hospital get all ripped apart. There's loads of gory scenes from start to finish. The patients who got Julie to come back into a skin self died off screen. That was a bit of a disappointment. I like to have seen more of like what happened to the victims, And even Pinhead comes to his demise, because when Kirsty and Tiffany go into a room, Dr. Channard in the meantime has become a Cenobite himself, and he ends up killing Pinhead and all the Cenobites. I'm thinking, fucking hell, that's lame. Kind of wanted Pinhead and the Cenobites to kill off Dr. Channard, but I wanted to push Channard to make him think he was the next real deal as the next Cenobite and leader, because they all end up turning human every time he kills them and everything, including Doug Bradley. But Doug Bradley's character, the Pinhead, tried to help Kirsty, because Kirsty convinced him that he was once a human and that he wasn't always evil. And then when he tried to help her, Dr. Channard killed them all in the process, which was kind of bullshit. Kind of wanted the Cenobites to win. And again, it's a really good, interesting adventure. I like the whole concept about the fact that, Kirsty's in trying to find her dad, but she doesn't succeed. I like how they introduced all these new characters like Tiffany and Dr. Channard. It was nice to see small faces like Ashley Lawrence and Claire Higgins come back, and Sean Chapman. Nice to see Doug Bradley come back, and so it was nice to see all these old faces and all of them reprising the roles again. So that was one nice factor about Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. It was nice to see small faces come back. And again, it's just like the first one in every way, but it was like more of like an adventure feel to it. Like different locations and different settings. And it seemed more gorier as well than the first movie, even though the first movie had its great practical effects. The second one, which came out a year later, like in 1988, seemed to show more of those practical effects with all the blood scenes and all the gore scenes. And I thought they did a fucking fantastic job of that. Just like the first movie, there's loads of special contents on this Blu-ray edition. Sean Chapman even talks about reprising his role as Frank in this movie, in the contents. We get some artwork, some trailers, image galleries, rare and seen storyboards, and we get audio commentary from the director Tony Randall and the writer Peter Atkins, audio commentary with Ashley Lawrence. So it does go behind the scenes and talking about the making of Hellraiser 2, which is really interesting. As to the end of the movie, it left it clearly open for a third movie because the mattress was still at Don Starr's house. And the moving men, who one of them was in the first movie, moving the mattress, gets sucked into the mattress, and he has bad luck when it comes to mattresses, but he gets sucked into the mattress, and the pillars rise from the mattress, all like hell raised. And then it shows the guy who sold the box at the end saying, "What is your pleasure, sir?" And then the movie ends. So overall, it's a fantastic sequel. Really had a lot of fun with Hellbound Hellraiser 2. I'd say I like it even more than the first one by a pinch of salt, because the first one I find hard not to like, because it's an all-time classic. But I'm a big fan of it, up to the point where, like I said in the first movie review, I got a tattoo of Pinhead there on my arm. I even collect the figures. This is a talking Pinhead action figure. So overall, yeah, I had a lot of fun with the second Hellraiser movie. I have fun with the trilogy, to tell you the truth. I think the trilogy is the best in the franchise. The first three movies. After part 3, it starts to go downhill a little bit, but I'll get to that when I review those movies. Yeah, so if anyone has anything they want to say, anything they want to ask, please leave it in the comment section below. And like I say, I really recommend Hellraiser to those who like the gory 80s movies. I mean, there was something so great about the 80s that I can't touch. I mean, the 80s will forever be the best time in horror, in my opinion. We come out with some good horror movies today, but when it comes to special effects and good storytelling and the graininess that goes with the dark atmosphere of all the bloody gore and all that kind of thing, 80s really stands out, and Hellraiser stands out for that department. I mean, Simon Bradford, like I said, who plays the Butterball Cenobite in part 1 and part 2, when I had a conversation with him, because I've met him, I've met also Doug Bradley, I've met Claire Higgins, I've met Sean Chapman, and I've met Barbie Wilde also. The only two original Cenobites I've not met are Chattering Cenobite and the female Cenobite from part 1. Those are the only two Cenobites I've not met. But when I met Simon Bradford, he said something really interesting about VHS. He says he likes to watch the Hellraiser movies even today on VHS because the graininess and the fuzziness of the tape really adds to the feel of the horror, and it makes it stand out considering it's an 80s movie. And I see where he comes from about that, because like I say, I own the first one on VHS, and to tell you the truth, it really does stand out. He's right about how it feels like more of an 80s movie when it comes out on VHS. When you watch it on VHS, it's all grainy, dark, fuzzy. It really adds to the feel of the whole project, in my opinion. So I know what he's talking about. But on the other hand, it's nice to watch them on Blu-ray also, because of how clear it is. But watching a classic like Hellraiser on VHS is a little bit more special, in my opinion. Adds more feel to it. Okay, that's my review, everyone. Please leave your comments below, and if you have any questions, Hellbound Hellraiser 2. Love it. Great sequel, very solid, and got no complaints whatsoever. Other than I wish I could have gave Steve Kirsty's boyfriend more of a better send-off. Or they could have brought him back and killed him off, I don't know. But it feels like there's no hero in this movie. It's all down to the women like Kirsty and all that. No guy saves the day. Thanks a lot, everybody. Peace out.